So you all seemed really curious about making ghee. It's so easy. So why go through the trouble of making ghee? Well, as Allison was pointing out yesterday, in Ayurvedic medicine in India, ghee is thought of as one of the most healing foods that there is. It's known to have many different healing properties. It's, as far as cooking, it's great for cooking because it's shelf stable. It has a high heat point. It can be heated to a very high point and it won't burn because there's no milk solids in it. Whereas butter will burn, not easily, but pretty easily because the milk solids will burn. So ghee is a great fat for cooking with. You can leave it on the shelf. You don't have to refrigerate it. If you're going to have it for a long time, then I would refrigerate it. But you can leave it out on the shelf for a month or more, even 6 months. And you'll find it in Indian stores on the shelf, not in the refrigerated section. But the homemade version is much better in my opinion. So basically, when you're making ghee, what you want to look for is, ghee is basically clarified butter. So you want the milk solids to separate from the liquid. So eventually they'll all separate and the solids will usually kind of just float to the bottom. The milk solids, that's the casein, that's the part that can be hard to digest. And you'll end up with just this pure golden liquid. So we're getting there. To prepare for making ghee, you want just a clean, sterilized jar, glass jar. And then you'll need something to strain the ghee with. So I'm using a fine mesh strainer and some cheesecloth. So you want to use unsalted butter. I'm using an Icelandic butter, which it's not organic, but there's not much going on in Iceland. It's a pretty clean place. So I feel pretty good about it. So you're going to just let the butter melt slowly. You don't want to cook it. You don't want it to burn or brown at all. Just let it melt really slowly. And once the butter melts, I'll show you what to do next. Okay, so when you're melting the butter, you want to cook it for like 10 to 20 minutes and just real slow on your lowest heat and let the solids separate. And now we're going to strain it. The solids will stay at the top. Just to catch any additional milk solids that might come out, I want to make sure to catch everything. If you don't get all the milk solids out, then the ghee could go rancid, could go off. Just like you can leave butter out on the counter for about 3 days and it'll be fine. But if you leave it out much longer, then it can kind of sour or turn. And it's the casein, the milk solids, that will make it turn. So in this case, we're wanting to make sure to remove all the milk solids. Get them all out. So that is, can you see that? Yeah, it's not that much. Just sort of looks like melted butter. So this is what the ghee looks like. And then, okay, well, you ate it all, but it did look like this. So it gets hard, and it's kind of like a creamy sort of consistency. When it's colder, it'll get harder. But it's great because it's ready to use. You can spread it really easily. You can just keep it by your stove and just dip a spoon in and put it in your frying pan. It's really easy to use. Okay, and it has a really pure, delicious flavor. So we'll let this cool, and then we can have it at lunch. Okay. So in India, they mix ghee with different flavors, like the ghee that I put out for lunch yesterday, this herbs de Provence ghee. This is made by an Indian guy, and he infused it with herbs de Provence and then strained out the herbs. And you can make it with fennel or rose petals or honey or lots of different things. You can use it as a body salve, put it on your body. You can cook with it. In India, they do even ghee fasts and fast with it. There's books on the subject, but in India it's used for many different things and known to be a very healing substance. If I were going to infuse, I would put whatever I was infusing in with the pot and then strain it all out together. So if you wanted to put rose petals in, for example, you could add rose petals while the ghee is separating, and then just strain the whole thing.